reached out and said, okay, I can't find it on that.
Calling the meeting to order. It's 1 o'clock. My name is Judy Gardy, and you have before you the agenda. I will say to begin the meeting that Kim Jones is out of town and is asked to be excused. And I would ask you, if you don't want to be recognized as the township trustees, whose name appears in front of you, take your name tag down. Thank you.
So if I don't want to be said that.
Okay.
Well, that
That makes you the boss.
I did
I'm the only one.
I did send for a township trustee, yes. I did send the agenda out last week in an email. I will just say on a personal note that I moved into my home last week, and
It's beautiful.
on a professional level, I did not get my technology hooked up, so I wasn't able to do the things I usually do. So I sent this in an email to you last week. I hope you all received it. So if you have a chance to look at the agenda, I tried to create it based on the conversation that we had at our last meeting, and I'd like to just know if you have anything you'd like to add to the agenda, and if not, we can just approve it and move forward.
I move we approve it and move forward.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, now we also have the minutes. Deb wasn't here last month, and so I took the minutes, and then when I went home, I wrote them down, because that's the easiest thing for me. So these were the minutes that are from our meeting last month that were taken right after the meeting. And again, I sent them out on January 18th. To all of you, so hopefully you've had a chance to read them. I just will note that Ryan did make a commitment to us that at the meeting that he attended, that there would be, that Karen or a member of her staff that she assigned to us would attend all of our meetings. She was not in attendance last month, and she is not in attendance today, and she has not sent a staff person. Becca is with us, again, to observe and to speak with us. I put her on the agenda, I'm not sure that's appropriate, about recreation activities and events that we consider valuable at the senior center, perhaps focusing even on just Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will say, first I'll ask for approval of the minutes. I'll let you finish reading them, but.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. I, again, was busy completing my house and moving, and so I was not able to attend the township trustee meeting. That was the first meeting in February. I was encouraged by a member of the community to watch the last 45 minutes of the video, which I did. And during that 45 minutes, there was a discussion about the senior center. And Ryan led the discussion based on his conversation with us. And I was sorry not to be there because I really felt that he misrepresented us. And so I spoke to them last night at the end of the meeting. But he was very clear with the township board that until the township board, sets for us what their expectations are, what they feel our mission should be, and what kind of help they want from us, we should not do anything. We should wait.
We should just stay home? Yeah, why even have a meeting?
Well, we could say,
Well, I mean, and you're correct, the information
right, they have hired us. They have hired us. This is our responsibility to them. They have hired us to do this work. There was also during that meeting a discussion about being open 5 days. We just experienced 2 days of being closed at the senior center. One, the school was closed and the storm didn't come, and we could have had lunch. And the second day, we did have a storm, but it wasn't much of a storm on that Friday. And so we had discussed that at our meeting on Wednesday, and the fact that we're old enough, we can make our own decisions about whether or not we want or feel it's safe to go to the senior center. If I didn't have a four-wheel drive vehicle and I didn't feel it was safe, I would stay home. But if I was hungry and wanted a good meal and wanted to see my friends and felt it was safe, I would go. So we passed a resolution, you'll see it noted in the minutes, which is exactly what Ryan asked us to do. Ryan said, if you want our attention, if you want anything from us, pass a resolution and bring it forward to us, and we'll take action. Right?
Correct.
Well, he didn't say we'll take action.
He said they will
discuss.
discuss.
They will review it. He made it sound like we should be sure to pick and choose.
Right.
That we just pick the most important things.
Yep, and we did.
And that, those are the things that they should see.
And so Dana made a motion, and it was seconded by Dennis, that the senior center be open 5 days a week, and if the school district was closed, then our lunch program would be closed, but the senior center would remain open from 9 to 4. So I'm your chair, so I took that and I sent it to Brenda, because she's our clerk. She presents things to the board. That is her job. She's like their secretary. I sent it to Ryan as the chair. I sent it to Karen, and I sent it to Taylor. I think I sent it to you all as well. And Ryan discussed this during the meeting 2 weeks ago. And Dana, you watched it. Would you like to respond?
He threw us under the bus.
How so? Are all our microphones on? I'm sorry.
How so?
He stated that when we resolved and we went to the board with the concern about the gambling, that it was something that we didn't like, and because we didn't like it, being square little children that we are, that we took it to the board and we had it changed. Therefore, the board set a precedent to us that if we don't like something, we can take it to them and get it changed. So basically, he said, that is Karen's decision. We will uphold what Karen decides, and they were sorry that they went back on the gambling one because it's that bad or undermine. We undermined Karen by taking that to the board.
We won't do it again, was his implication. We will not undermine Karen's decisions at all, ever.
Correct.
And I want to add something here.
Just wait, are you finished, Dana?
I'm still not happy with it.
Wait, can I ask, with
Yes.
no disrespect to any of
No,
it?
correct.
Where do we want what we're talking about right now to be? I don't see it in our
It's not
agenda. So
Well, we're discussing the minutes.
we're still just,
We're still in minutes.
We're discussing the minutes.
Okay, that's
What
what he's
Ryan
saying.
did to us is counterbalancing, is not what we have in our meetings that we had decided when he was here. We did exactly what Ryan told us to do.
And I would like to add in there that when I brought up that because schools are closed, there is no reason that we should close the senior center, in my opinion. And it's what we talked about. And Brenda had nice, big,
No, wasn't it Jennifer Wilson, the
it
treasurer?
was Jennifer, you're right. She had color posters delineating the different schools that were closed, the senior centers, and those township closed. Now, I might be able to hunt around and find the ones that are different, but she was prepared to knock it down, what I brought up in the board meeting.
They also talked about if the senior center is open, that we are putting our seniors at risk. We're taking care of the children. We need to take care of our seniors also because of the fall issues. And they also didn't want us to put the emergency help people at risk when we're out there on slippery roads and snow-covered roads and falling and getting in car accidents.
But I think the long and the short of it is that Ryan has now taken the position that the Board of Trustees will do what Karen wants and only when Karen wants, that she's in charge. I mean, I think that's the long and short of it.
Yes,
And
and
you
that,
could,
as a committee,
right.
like you said, the board's job and responsibility is to let us know what our role and responsibilities are to them. So in order to cease and desist, order has come through.
Am I mistaken, or isn't it the board's policy to tell the superintendent of the township
Well,
what to
that's
do?
called micromanaging.
No,
We're not allowed to.
No, I believe you're right, Dennis.
The
Yes.
board?
That's right.
That she works for them.
Yes.
She works for them.
We hired her.
So, that's a point well taken, and we must not forget that. I think our responsibility is still to the trustees. And moving forward, I'm not going to change that. I believe that's what our
For
responsibility
the trustees to say that we're gonna let Karen's decisions ride.
That's what they have.
That's
Can
totally
we get
wrong.
back to the agenda? Just go ahead.
And they did say that they've already given Karen those roles and responsibilities that we're trying to take away or undermine her.
Micromanaging is the word that comes up.
One more comment, Nancy.
Isn't our position here one of her responsibilities? And therefore, should
It's up to the board.
be here?
No, what Nancy is saying is that what the board is saying is that we're responsible to her, and she's not been here in a year. I think that's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
she needs to know what's going on.
so that was our discussion on the minutes. Treasurer's report. Dennis, do you have an update from?
Nope.
All right.
Okay, and also on the treasurer's report, I heard on the tape that we are the only advisory board that has a treasurer.
And it shouldn't be that way. We should not have a treasurer. We should not have these responsibilities.
Well, they don't want us to
We
have money,
we
right?
should not be raising money.
We have money.
What is the purpose?
So,
I mean, they said that. You guys should watch the meeting. I was gonna have that be our meeting and just put it up there.
well, anyway, so is that something we need to address as long as we're doing a treasury report? Do we need to get rid of our treasurer?
Heavens no, we need our new treasurer.
Okay. And what is the role of our treasurer supposed to be, since no one has one?
Well, 10 years ago, the Senior Services Advisory Board made a commitment to raise $50,000, which would be used as a match for a state, federal, or local grant that we could get for an addition or an expansion at the senior center. We still have that commitment to raise that $50,000. The reason we made that commitment was that when we got the grant for the kitchen, it required a $60,000 match, and it was a $150,000 grant, and we were told by the trustees that we had to turn it down because we didn't have a $50,000. They didn't have a $50,000 to match the Capital Region Community Foundation grant. And I reported that to the senior center, and they were absolutely irate. They said, if that's the case, we can raise that money, and we will raise that money. And that's how that challenge came about.
So,
The night that they were going to turn down that grant, Dan Wachicka that afternoon called me and told me that we had a settlement from a suit with Myers, and the settlement was $60,000 in cash, and he would commit it to the kitchen. And that's the only way we got the kitchen. But our commitment is still to raise that $50,000. Now, we'll discuss the addition later in the meeting, but that's where and why we have a treasurer, and that is our goal. And it's been a goal of ours for 10 years.
Judy?
When we first,
I was just going to say, when that commitment was made 10 years ago, that was communicated to the Board of Trustees, was it not?
Of course.
And was there any pushback at that time?
Great. Go ahead. Good luck.
And so they're the ones who've changed,
Encourage.
not us. As opposed to pointing us out as we're some aberration that we're, they're different from everybody. Well, we actually are exactly who we said we were.
Right.
We're keeping the promise we made that you had no problem with, and now you have a problem with it, and you want to act like we're the odd out people, and it's changing the narrative, which is really rewriting history. It's kind of disrespectful as well as misleading.
Disrespectful and misleading. Anyway,
and
so
I wanted to say one thing about that. When we did elect me treasurer, I worked a lot with Alan Rosecrans, who is now a trustee. And we raised a lot of money. Those early years, we had a lot of activities and raised a lot of money. So suddenly I don't understand why they're saying, don't do it anymore.
Well, they didn't say don't do it, they said we're the only ones that have it.
Well,
And
actually,
why?
Ryan did say, don't do it. He said he was not comfortable at all with the fact we had money and we're raising money, and he didn't want us to be involved in that at all.
Another committee, what did he call it?
Right.
Separate committee.
Friends of the senior centers, they could have money.
That would be a job that they could do.
Right, duplicate, all quit this group and rename it.
But I will confirm with all of you that we need a treasurer, and I would hope that you would agree that we continue to have a treasurer and need a treasurer.
The only reason I see a need for the treasurer is to keep that track of our money that we have raised, but is it our job? Probably not.
Well, we have a fiduciary stewardship responsibility to the people that we promise we'd raise that money to, and have raised that money to make sure it does not slip away.
Well,
Because that kind of thing can happen. When I was in high school, we raised money, and we had more money than any class, but our senior trip fell through, and the school, after we graduated, made a rule that they could go back and take our money retroactively.
The
It was in
township,
the papers and everything.
the township has taken our money in the past.
See, that happens.
And Dennis and Dan Matichka went through 5 years of records and got every single dime that we had raised out of those budgets and put it back in our column. And we're very protective of that column. It has a special designation in the budget. It's on a special page. And we watch it I watch it like a hawk. It is not going away. We do have checks and balances. The township treasurer does balance our account and does actually articulate and tell us exactly how much we've raised. So I can't see that we need to make a change right now, or that we should make a change at all. And I just hope you concur.
And should we take a formal vote on that or no?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Public comment. We have, Marie, would you like to make a comment?
I would like to make a comment. It was an interesting,
Could you speak up or go to the mic? I don't care.
or come up here to a microphone.
whatever works. My only comment has to do with the fact you guys are doing a great job, and your memories are really good. The age study is not here, but I wanted to say one thing that was forgotten, in all due respect to our superintendent, or our supervisor, that's our supervisor. He forgot the DDA, which obtained money. So you weren't the only committee that did raise money. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
The Downtown Development Association raised money through tax revenue, and they also have a special page in the budget. The township has taken over the DDA and has taken over the control of the DDA's money.
So there is no DDA anymore.
Right.
Yes,
We still have the senior services that goes through.
no, the DDA area is still viable.
Right, okay.
The money, which Steve Wiswasser took care of, supposed to, was, how do you put that? It was dissolved.
Okay.
So that the DDA in itself, the territory is still there.
Right.
The function of it, which was what the money was to be used from those who lived within the DDA area, not me, not Judy, I don't know any of you that live in the DDA area. So your taxes went 100%. Those who were in the DDA area, a percentage of their taxes, it was the same, the percentage of it went for them. So the DDA is not dead, the area is still alive.
So who's doing anything as far as development of the downtown area?
There isn't any, well, other than Webster
Shouldn't
Road.
there be?
Well, they're using part of, my understanding, they're using part of that money for the Webster Road project. That's where that money's going. And
So
it was at one point until last night to pay the taxes on property on Main Street.
One of the options for use of DDA money is streetscape. So that if you lived on Main Street and you wanted to beautify Main Street, one of the options that you have is beautification is landscaping. So you could do increasing curb appeal. So that would mean you could fix porches and ramps and steps and do landscaping and plant trees and put up flags. So the DDA boundary goes to the highway pretty much. You'll see when you're driving down Webster Road, just past the food bank on the right-hand side, it says, "Welcome to the DDA," or "You're in the DDA," or "The back DDA." There's also one on Clark Road. There's also one on the other side of the downtown area.
It's a geographic.
So the Webster Road project is going to be done next year in the summer. And so what they're saying is that they can take that DDA money and use it for streetscape. And sidewalks. Okay, old business. Purpose, mission, and responsibility, our meeting with Ryan. I invited him to come today as well. I heard not. I sent him 3 emails. The first email I sent prior to watching the meeting that they had. And in it I was a little expressed my own personal disappointment that he is short-sighted in not looking at our accomplishments, our goals and our objectives, and the work that we have done for the last 2 years for them. And hope that he would come to our meeting and discuss with us, not tell us, but discuss with us, what he saw as our mission, if it were different than what our mission was in the past, and how he would like us to articulate that. I sent him 3 emails to that, a little bit different each time. I have not had one response, not even an indication that he received the email. Thanks, Judy, I'll look at this, I'll get back to you on this, not sure, I have to meet with Karen about this, whatever. Not one response. Which again, I think is very disrespectful. So I don't know how long we'll be waiting for this. Last night I did appear before, I waited till the end of the meeting, and I told them all that I felt that the work that we had done for the last 18 months was very beneficial for the township, that we had gotten a lot accomplished, that we had worked really hard, and that I felt that I understood from the meeting that they wanted to tell us what our mission should be, but that I hope that we could do that together. And I also said that I felt that during the meeting they discussed the Senior Services Advisory Board in the wrong way. I mean, it's not that what we want is a warming center or an emergency shelter. We want a drop-in center for seniors in the community that has games and activities and events planned around it. And that we wanted the center to be open 5 days a week for the purposes of being there to be open for the community. I could not have watched that meeting, Dana, and not gone last night and spoken to them, which I did.
And I watched it late last night.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
why
I
I
get it.
wasn't there.
So I can only say that at this point, we can only wait.
Yep.
I don't know how long we wait, because in my opinion, we have a mission. So, but he's asking us to wait. Nancy?
Well, I kind of feel like in the last 18 months, we really haven't accomplished a lot, because we're not getting any help anywhere.
Right.
So, where are all of our efforts going?
Right.
I mean, we try to give advice on how we can grow the senior center and what we can do to grow the senior center, but everything just hits a wall. I mean, here we are in a room, 4 walls, now everything just hits a wall. Aside from the fact that they.
No, and I was told by Karen today in an email that Becca did not represent the administration, that we should not turn to her as a member of the administration, but she's here to see if there's any way she can help us.
And I
Okay,
forget that.
wait a minute.
I forgive you for talking to you the other day. What day it was, Friday.
You can always
And
go
with
to
another human without certain entities' approval?
I did, Becca.
Well, that's gonna have to be documented.
Okay, so.
Okay, how is she even, why is she even putting her nose in that?
Who, she, who?
Karen, why did that, how did that even come to be said? How did that even come to be said? When we can't get a response to a request for her to attend, why is she making these comments like, these little instructional comments about what you're allowed to do, what you can't, how you think, and why, how did that even come to be? I'm sorry. Did she feel that that's what was happening? Did we communicate that that was happening? I don't get it.
So
So Ryan says he's gonna send somebody here to represent. He doesn't. No one comes. And so Karen wants to make sure that we know that Becca is not the one who's representing? Is that what that?
So I
Looking up, yeah, sorry.
So I sent Karen an email this morning that said, good morning. As you know, the Senior Services Advisory Board is meeting today at 1 o'clock. We greatly appreciated if our meeting notes said after the last meeting last week were printed on the agenda that I sent last week reflecting what we will be discussed already for today's meeting. Thank you in advance. Karen, are you coming to the meeting? Who will represent you at the meeting? Please let us know. Thank you. Judy, I have other previous meetings scheduled and will not be attending. Becca will be attending the meeting. She is not staff to your committee. She will be attending to observe and listen. She will continue planning activities until further planning and reorganization takes place with the Senior Center as a whole. Thank you, Karen.
So she is representing. We're just not allowed to tell her what.
She's not
She
one of
knows
us.
it.
She's not one of
Well,
us.
also, I
You
think
get it out. She was never.
clarify what I think of my role, but is that going to be helpful? I don't want to interrupt, but
No, what did you say?
will it help if I kind of clarify what I think my role? Okay. So just what I view as what I understand is what I'm doing is it's more of just an extension now that Jenna's gone. And now like Linda was out sick and I oversee at the Senior Center. I'll be at the Senior Center filling in for Linda when she gets surgery. So until it sounds like there's going to be some maybe reorganization of staff and everything with the Senior Center, I'm just filling in to help at the Senior Center. It's also an extension of my current role as just recreation coordinator to do programming. So I've got some ideas that I'll talk about later and ask you guys, but it's just ideas on events and programs that should run at the Senior Center, like ukulele lessons. I just set that up. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. So that's my role, if that helps.
Did you-
Clarify.
Did you plan the game day, the,
Family Feud?
yeah, family feud?
So I'm now the contact, people are kind of contacting for that, coming in, so Vista Springs contacted me, so I set that up. So now I have access to the Senior Center calendar, so I can go through and just set things up and do that.
Okay, well, if you do that again on a Thursday, please let me know ahead of time so I can let all my group players don't show up.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know if that helps at all, that's just my role.
I think you're doing great.
And that's why I'm here. So I think that's all Karen was trying to say there, is I'm not staff to the committee, but I'm here to listen and get ideas for programming to do that part.
And that's exactly what we're asking of her.
Yeah.
So this is, we're going now to old business, be partnering with Bath Township Recreation Department. That's back up. And she did schedule chair, yoga, and the ukulele. And we had a movie yesterday. Did you schedule that?
Yeah, I'm working with Lisa and with Izzy on some ideas for Tuesdays and Thursdays for things that we can add into there as well, yep.
And who is Izzy?
Izzy, Elizabeth Thorne, she works over there in the kitchen. I think her role is the dishwasher, but she's in the kitchen during the meals.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fine.
Sorry, I've known her for a long time. my whole life.
So, they had four movie choices yesterday. I've been kind of out of it, I didn't know anything about it. Did they have a copyright license?
No, so I need to work on that, so I've looked into it, it's a long story, there's like a blanket license that I can get, that I'm filling out the application for this week, I've been swamped with election stuff, but I'm getting that, so technically, keep it on the down low, we're running without the license, so technically we could get in trouble, but I'm not worried about.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having movies all along, technically, we could have gotten in trouble, but they, thank you, Becca. I mean, people were excited that there was a movie, there were 4 choices.
How many people?
Only 6, but they watched Elvis, but the sound system that the Red Hatters bought with the money from Bonnie Olcher hasn't been purchased, hasn't been set up, and so the only audio was from the TV and they couldn't hear it.
Oh, I know they set up something, I know they set up a
We
speaker.
have a new microphone over there.
But anyways,
Okay.
the audio didn't work very well.
Okay.
So that's stuff too, like anything that comes up, feel free to come to me, and I can
Yeah.
handle that.
You can
So,
fix that,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Thank you.
Can I ask real quick on the blanket copyright
Mhm.
thing?
I'm sorry, umbrella, I think is the term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that.
It covers.
Yeah.
Do you know what the cost is on something like
So
that?
I'm getting a quote right now, I'm still waiting for them to get back. That one's pretty low, so it goes by venue and it goes by amount of people that you'd expect. So I'm also at the same time trying to plan like a movie in the park for like all ages of community. So obviously I'm expecting more there, so that one's gonna be a different tier level and more expensive. But this one, I don't wanna say the exact price because they haven't gotten back to me yet. They said they're all different, but it seems like it's somewhere between like $300 to $500 is what I understand, but I don't know for sure yet until I actually get my quote back.
Seems like a movie that Netflix for a lot cheaper than that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
No,
That'll come out of the budget for the
$70
senior center. Or for my rec programming, either, I had to double check.
All right, so,
You need to
Becca,
understand
just,
who pays for it.
that's bad notion.
How about the senior center?
Well, that's the thing, is it would come out of a budget either from general recreation programming, or it would come out of possibly the senior. If it was only for the senior center, then it would probably come out of the senior center.
Yeah, we have a line item.
Yeah.
Ryan made it sound like it was gonna be like $500 a movie.
No, for not, that's not what I.
$500 a movie, that's
For
what he said.
like big, because I think his experience was like for a university.
Yeah,
and
he's
like,
short on our college campuses.
Then, yeah, they're more, like the one in the park, that's gonna be more expensive. But from what I understand, just an umbrella license, if we're expecting like 10 or less people or so, we're not charging anything, we're not making money off of it. That's my understanding. Again, I don't have the quote back and haven't discussed it yet with the person I need to discuss it with, but that's how I understand it, is it should be pretty cheap, umbrella license. It would be, there'd be like a list of movies that we can show that fall under that umbrella license that are all covered, so I just.
Some communication about sharing with the library too.
Yeah, so I've been in communication with them. They don't have a copyright license and they don't have an umbrella license. I've already checked with them, so I can't piggyback off of that because that was my first go. That's I try to piggyback off of anything I can. Someone's got something, so we will have to get our own, but it shouldn't be too much money. It shouldn't be too much of an ordeal.
And I have a comment to make. I have heard from some of the people that went to the meal, or the movie, and they were thrilled to death that we're using the popcorn machine
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people got to take popcorn home, which they love that.
I had 2 bowls of it. I said, I wonder if we'll have popcorn machine when we
So-
use it. So anyway, back to the agenda. Okay.
Yes, so yesterday, Nancy and Dana took donuts up to the senior center. Were there people around when you, and what were they talking about? Did they have ideas or activities or anything?
We got there was only one person there when I got there, and then 4 or 5 more came in. One of them was crocheting, the rest of them were just hanging out, talking and eating. We shared our donuts, and they had coffee and stuff, so.
Great, good. So,
I wanna do that again.
right,
Next Tuesday.
and we should say coffee hour, let's put it on.
Coffee donuts.
Coffee hour.
We're not allowed to do that.
What do you mean we're not allowed to touch the calendar, are we?
No?
It's just me going there.
So we have
Come to me.
we have a bulletin board over at the senior center, just as you walk in the door, that you put up.
Nancy?
So we
I'll
can
have
put,
donuts.
coffee and donuts.
just on the bulletin board, Tuesday at 10, whatever it is.
Okay, we can, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna put coffee and donuts on a Tuesday.
Also, I heard that on Thursday this week, Vista Springs was supposed to bring Family Feud to the senior center, but it had to be postponed.
Yeah, so that's rescheduled.
People were so excited about that
Oh,
today.
gosh, I can't remember I want to say it's March, it's in the middle of March. I can't remember the exact day off the top of my head, but I got it rescheduled.
Yeah, so they're gonna bring a light meal, it's a Tuesday or a Thursday, and they're gonna bring a light meal. And they're gonna bring this big game that they have, Family Feud, and maybe some people with them.
Yeah.
And, like I said, the people at my table were so excited about that at lunch today, that was great. So, do you have, thinking that this is February, March, we have Easter, Mardi Gras, anything that we think that Becca might be useful in helping us set up for this month? Easter, scavenger hunt?
Do you mind actually, I don't know if this, this just seems like the appropriate time. I had a couple ideas on
Yeah,
what you guys.
we're on the agenda.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I've kind of been talking to some people and kind of got some ideas. Tell me if I'm way off base, if no one wants to go to these, look at something else. So this is just kind of what I'm thinking. I'm finalizing the March schedule, Taylor, probably end of this week, beginning of next week. And so I just kind of wanted to get your guys' take on this. So I planned on leaving pretty much like all the cards on the schedule and obviously meal times and all that, how it is for March. But then it sounded like the craft went really well, Alyssa said. So I was talking to her about possibly doing crafts Tuesday mornings, and then possibly I've been in also contact with the library about them bringing in books for you guys to check out and everything they have available. Maybe you guys can make suggestions on what kinds of books or any specific ones. They could bring those in for like a mobile checkout, so you could actually just do that right at the senior center. And then they're only interested in once a month though, so then I was thinking maybe every other, so like maybe 2 weeks later, we could have possibly like a book club kind of thing or book potluck. You can bring in a book you're reading, talk to people about it, maybe share books, something along those lines. So we're keeping with that theme of the library. And then those every other going on, maybe fill those in with more movies, information sections. It sounds like maybe there's been some talk of like a computer class or how to taxes.
Gadget workshop.
Yep, something along.
Smart TVs.
Yeah, so
What do they call
keep
that?
open maybe once.
Streaming.
Yep, so maybe once a month have like an information session, and again, guided by you guys and suggestions on what topic you guys need.
The library is willing to do a gadget workshop. They want to do a survey first to find out how many have iPhones and how many have Androids, and if there are iPhone-specific questions, Android questions, what they might be. And then they said they would do 1 week Android and the other week iPhones, but I had to get out of the conversation with them.
Okay. I did also talk to them, I believe, don't quote me, because I think they said that they have either iPads or tablets of some sort that I believe they could bring with them and like do a class on those, like an instructional class on technology or whatever and how to use those, and then obviously take them back. Those wouldn't be to check out, but I believe they said they could bring something like that in too. So yeah, and then Dana, I think it was the first meeting I was here. Was it you that said specifically something about like either a quilting or a knitting class or something that you had done before? Or
We have a quilt club here in town, and we wanted once a month to bring our sewing machine for an all-day quilting session or
Okay.
craft. It doesn't have to be quilt,
okay,
because a lot of people don't quilt. But
yeah,
and we said no, we stopped doing that because
There was a lot of interest on the seniors' part as well as the community part to do that.
okay. Because my thought was that just recurred to me when I was making the list, and I thought that might be a good thing to like the craft that maybe Elsa wants to lead once a month or every 2 weeks or something, and maybe fit that in.
well,
at
we're
the same
talking
time.
about bring our sewing machine in, and Helen, the other person, is a whole lot better sewer than I am. I've helped people teach them how to thread their sewing machine after so many years. They forget. I mean, how to run a bobbin. That kind of help would be there with Helen and I.
Okay.
I think you're limited to your outlets for sewing machines.
Okay. Well, that's something
Could
we
we bring
have to
a
check
phone
out.
box?
But yeah, that would be.
You know, I'm sure we could set that up where we could bring in a power strip and everything, get some more, depending, I mean, especially if it's the same people showing up every time, or maybe there's a limit on how many we have or something.
Power strip should be fine for something,
Yeah.
but that's not a big
Yeah, so
draw.
we have to do a time and credit.
That would be safe.
Yeah, it would, yeah. Yeah, that would be.
I had one comment about, did I hear you say that you helped prepare the activity list that's on the back of the menu?
Yeah.
One of the things that I observed when I picked it up this last month was since I don't attend regularly to the senior center, I couldn't tell what things were free and what things they charged money for.
Okay,
I would appreciate if that could be
okay.
put next to the activity.
Good catch.
Also, I know that they love outs. We all love outings. And it's going to be baseball season pretty soon. So Love Nuts, Tigers. Also, people are really excited and interested in the Broad Museum at MSU. The Meyer Garden is also really pretty. So if we could have a couple of field trips or outings over the summer, spring, summer.
And is that anything that you've had any luck in getting transportation if we do want to have an outing?
You know, I don't know details on that yet, so with all the programming that I've done in my 2 years here, I've never needed transportation. It's always been either an event where people come to or, a sport that's going on. I've never had to do that part of it, so I don't know yet, but I'll look into that.
So just FYI, Timber Ridge, Vista Springs has a van, a bus,
Yeah.
a minibus. They have offered to help us in the past.
Okay.
The blue bus, the Clinton County Transit,
Yeah.
they would help us,
Yeah.
no doubt whatsoever. And also, there's a provision within state law that senior centers can use school buses and school bus
Oh, really?
drivers.
Okay.
So I think with the blue bus, we have a phenomenal resource and we should use it as much as possible. But as a fallback, we might do a little research on the school bus issue. There is a guy at the senior center who is from Langsberg, and when they had organized senior activities in Langsberg, they always used the Langsberg school bus and drivers.
Okay.
And he told me that's why out.
We can use, if we're employed by the township, I understand, we are insured to drive any vehicles owned by the
The
township.
township owns, yeah, we have a van.
Are you
It's hard to
Do
get
you have a
in.
van?
It's hard to get into the township van because of all the
volunteering to drive?
Sure.
All right.
Deb,
I'm not qualified to drive a bus.
I
Buses
know.
are a different animal.
Yeah, a van's okay, not a full size, not a full size bus.
It's just a van would be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
van's fine.
usually, I mean, I can look in the mirror and say, don't make me come back there.
I can do that. I can get a chauffeur's license.
any other comments? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and yeah, so I just want to double check, did all that sound good? Did anything I say not sound good?
Sounds great.
Go with it?
Great.
So donuts and coffee, like now that I'm making notes, is that, you want me to add that in too while we're talking about
Tuesdays,
it?
donuts and coffee, 10 o'clock.
Okay, because that's also when I plan on either doing like the craft of the library, which
Or
obviously.
the book club.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Fits right in.
Okay, so I'll just go with that. And is that, now, you guys,
Just one day,
what's the
Tuesday.
plan for donuts and coffee? Like, if we're using the coffee there, but
Yes.
donuts are being brought in, or,
Exactly.
okay, all right.
10 a.m.
Okay. And also Riverwalk Theater is another place that they got excited about that fell through because of the line of business that we're in.
Okay. And I'm sorry, one more thing on the donuts and coffee. So you want that to be either or Tuesday, Thursday, or both?
Just one day.
Just one. Would you have a preference on which one? Okay.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Try one and if it works out.
Well, I think that she has to remember that you do have cards on Thursday. You are on Thursday.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Great list. I'll go with it. And yeah, and I'll be posting, I'll work with Taylor on getting the list out for March.
Great.
And if you have any ideas between now and then, I'm working on it for the next week. Let me know. Send me an email, call me.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Becca.
And I told Becca when we talked on Friday, because she was there at the center, I said, this is all we've been asking for.
Yes. Right.
That's it.
Name tags. We also want name tags and a greeter.
Wonderful.
You know, Becca, when you go into the senior center, we're all aging. And a lot of the people that go in there are regulars, but still, I'm not really sure their names, and
We're getting many new people.
we're getting new people all the time, and just name tags would
Yeah.
make such a big
Maybe not
difference.
to me, Brendan asked me, but I didn't know her name, she didn't know mine. That'd be so easy.
Name tags and a
I
greeter.
can't promise a
I'll just give you an
try, but
example.
I can probably see name tags pretty soon.
I'll give you an example of why I think a greeter is so important. On Valentine's Day, we had a full house. I don't think there was a seat to be had in 9 folks. And I think we had 40 or 50 takeaways. And a woman from the library walked in, and she had Valentine's for everybody. And she wasn't greeted at the door. She wasn't introduced. No one spoke to her from the staff. And I had been into the senior center the week before, had been told by the library that she was coming. So I told them to expect her. It just sad.
Also, we used to have someone right there by the door with a table that would greet money, actually, and that way you got to know the people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so
Does
this
that make that's changing the policy? I mean, right now it's done at the window, so that's something that, we can't get involved in.
Windows are
but even name tags and greeters, I mean, these are simple recommendations that were made last February in our conversation.
Oh, yes, a year ago, more than.
They were made, they're in the report from our dialogue last February. Just simple, easy things that make a huge difference in how friendly we seem to be. We're very friendly. Thank you. So open 5 days, this is the next discussion item, C, open 5 days with Karen. She's not here, so we can't have this discussion, and we shouldn't have it anyways because we're micromanaging. Building addition. So, Jean is adamant that if we can't have an expansion, we should have an addition. At a minimum, we should have an addition, which would include a basement. Marie is very adamant that we have a basement. And so I went to my builder and I asked him to estimate a 17 by 17 addition to the building with a full basement. And here is the estimate. I'm sorry, the copy machine at the township office is not working, but it's $198,000. I'm happy to pass this around so people can take a look at it. I know there are a lot of people on the Senior Services Advisory Board with experience in building and would be very interested in seeing that. And as soon as I can get a copy that you want, everyone won, yes.
You say 17 by 17?
Yeah.
Is that the size of the deck currently?
The deck is a little bit smaller than that, so a bit bigger than that.
Yeah. Bigger than
Anyways, the estimate is there. The bids were all gotten last week, so it's current numbers. When I spoke last night, I spoke to them about the difference, in my opinion, between an expansion and an addition. And I referenced the fact that our most successful program is our meal program, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. And that right now, they have maximized the capacity for the kitchen, and in order to serve more meals, they need more equipment and a bigger kitchen. So that is an expansion. It's a very big investment of over $500,000. An addition brings us an activity room and additional places for people to sit, so we can feed more people in the center and don't have to turn people away.
But if you're feeding more people, do you not need more space in the kitchen?
Well, we are now making 100 to 120 meals a day. Many of those are takeaway. A third of those meals are takeaway. I feel that many of those people take their meal away because there's no seat at the table. So I was saying to them that there's a difference between an expansion, that's a commitment that the township is making to cook more meals and serve more people through the best program that we have, and the best nutrition program in the region. In addition, is acknowledgement that we don't have room during mealtime to do meals and activities, and it's just an additional room to allow us more space. Anyways, I did not bring that estimate to them, but I did broach the subject with them last night so that they might start thinking that way. So that's the estimate. I don't have it electronically, but I will make sure that we get it electronically and that you all get a copy. New business, communication. Again, if you read the report that was done on the dialogue in February last year, you can see that communication between us and the administration has highlighted as one of our biggest problems. Doak, our facilitator, offered to facilitate conversations between the administration and us. Karen agreed. I told her she was busy, schedule it. It never got done. So, I've asked Ryan how he would, what he would recommend that we do to improve communication. I have not heard back from him. So, I'm happy to take any suggestions that you have. I communicate with Karen via email. I communicate with Ryan via email. There's a record. I don't know what else to do. So, if you have any suggestions, I'm open to them.
Suggest send it to all of the board members and anybody that's interested in the subject. So there's more records, because sometimes emails disappear, I know that for a fact. So if you send it to everybody, you send it to my private.
I don't have your private.
I will send it to you, you can send it to all of them. Or if you send it to mine, I'll send it to my own private.
I don't want to be paranoid about it. I just think that that they have some responsibility.
But if you send it to all of us, then we all know. I would appreciate it, because I don't, then I know about it, and that's on my record too, that this isn't happening.
Judy, who did you say had agreed to facilitate communication between us and?
Doak Bloss, he facilitated our community conversation. Doak, D-O-A-K, Bloss, B-L-O-S-S. Okay, so I'll copy everyone on my emails. Unless you have,
Well, what is Doak Bloss's?
he's a facilitator.
That we hired for the community conversation. Do we want to wait before we do anything else with anybody else, with Ryan to ask questions or Karen to ask questions, until they figure out what our roles and responsibility is? Do we want to keep bothering them?
It's like a waste of breath.
Not up to me, it's up to you.
I'm asking.
I think it's a good point. Along the same lines, when I wrote the letter that got read at the meeting, Karen, my understanding is that Karen said, I need time to address these allegations.
Right.
Correct?
And she sat right here and said that. I was in the meeting.
Okay. Has she ever, knowing the town, addressed the allegations?
No.
See,
And has the board ever told her to?
and again, when we talked about that, it sounds like Ryan has dug his heels in and said that what they're going to do going forward is simply support whatever Karen says. And then we talk about, well, the board of trustees, she actually answered to the board of trustees, but what I heard him say when he was here was that, well, she, if there's a problem, we'll address it like at her reviews, right? It didn't even sound like it was a mentoring, ongoing, in what other business, if someone is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, like communicating, is there not like immediate, a conversation right then, hey Karen, can I talk to you? We're having this problem, instead it's going to be addressed during, that's what he made it sound like, that was just going to be during, like,
Her annual
annual reviews, and it's like, well, okay, what are we left with? They just don't want to, they don't want to hear, listen, we're not the boss of them. That's the message. You're not the boss of us, we don't have to listen to you, and we're not going to.
Karen just had a review. Karen just had a review, and according to her review, she is not doing anything incorrectly. That was talked about in the meeting also. Did you hear that? I missed it. And that any problems that we have or whatever come through Karen's review. Karen's review just happened, or
It happened.
there is nothing to address in her performance.
2 months before the budget in October.
There's
And so
nothing
her
to
next
address.
review is late October.
And that's what they said.
So we have to wait until then before they.
They said that at the board meeting. There's
So-
nothing to address.
I think we need to ask the question, when can we expect, your response when it comes to your expectations of us, what our mission statement should be, what our role is. When can we expect that communication as?
Would you like to know what he said in the meeting?
Yeah,
After November.
I did not hear that, but.
they're not going to even give us.
Oh, because it's an election year. It's an election year, and they don't want to bring something on to the
They don't want to,
board.
they don't want to mess up their election. That's one of the biggest, I think, biggest
Okay,
motivating
that's right.
factors is if there be a Mr. Nice, that they don't want to make waves until the next
They
election.
don't want to make decisions for the next board to take care of.
Yep.
I do just think it's appropriate we ask, when can we expect
Yeah,
action?
yeah, we look forward to it. What can we expect then?
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is hiring a coordinator. Jenna quit only the Christmas.
What did we do with, did we decide not to communicate with them, just ask them when?
When can we expect action?
That's it, that's all the communication we're gonna go forward with, no getting hold of Karen and no getting hold of Ryan, just asking when we can have this information to us.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Let's talk about hiring a coordinator. Jenna quit over the holidays.
I asked her.
Linda has been temporarily placed in that position. I understand she's getting additional hours and additional pay. I heard today that March 13th she's having hip surgery.
Now she's back part-time.
Today when I went into the center to have lunch, there were not very many people there today. But Elisa was running across the parking lot and saying to me, Judy, don't worry, I'll be back in a minute. I'm Linda today. I'm doing a lot of these things. I'll be back.
Yeah, she was sick the other day.
Well, they're already short-staffed. Now, Linda was sick today. She had a cold. She didn't want to, get anybody else sick. But then March 13th, she's having hip surgery. How long will she be off? And what's going to happen in the meantime? And I was told that the problem has been solved. But I don't know what it is.
Has there been anything,
How long has the position been posted?
hasn't even been posted? I asked at the meeting.
It's not, how are they not posted?
Because they're taking care of it temporarily with Linda.
It's not been posted.
Not been posted.
We have, and in a meeting, Karen said that this is a difficult position to hire. She has had 11 people in the position since she came to work. I don't know. But in my opinion, she's not hiring a good leader.
In the last 12 years.
She hasn't hired any good leaders.
I hope there's more to it than that, but.
I mean, and we all know people who she could hire who are great, but the position hasn't even been posted. Dana.
Nancy and I both know most of those jobs over there, we would have to have refresher courses on some things, but we have volunteered for helping the senior center more than once. I've never been asked, never,
Right.
ever.
Today is a perfect example. Today they could have used help. The time that Linda's off with her hip surgery, they're going to need help. Who do we ask?
But last Friday, Linda was gone, Nancy and I got approval to help with bingo. So there's I take that back, we were asked to help we were approved to help, we volunteered, they did not have.
I've heard that we couldn't have bingo without the two of you. That you're doing a phenomenal job.
Well, without us, I don't know about that, but.
Oh, Linda told me.
We help every week with bingo.
Right.
Yes, we do. So, but I mean.
I put this on here because this is FYI. I mean, we all need to know what the situation is. I don't know how it's going to be resolved. And that's why we keep asking Karen for what the plans are for the senior center in 2024. Why should she be holding us in the dark? Again, I think it's disrespectful. She feels that we are disrespectful to her.
I haven't had any opportunity to be respectful.
Right, come and sit with us.
I mean, when was the last time that she felt that way? She
Expressing,
hasn't given us another opportunity, another chance.
expressing frustration over lack of communication is not disrespect. Holding someone accountable for not communicating is not disrespect. It's simply holding someone accountable. It's simply bringing it to the forefront so people are aware. And I'm getting extremely weary of people acting like being asked to do their job is somehow deemed disrespectful, hurtful, my feelings are hurt. It's actually a societal issue right now. When I was at LAFCU, they took away our drinking water, so we had to bring in our own drinking water. I said, no, we don't. It's an OSHA requirement. I hurt their feelings. I was disciplined. Yeah, you knew better. For hurting their feelings, because I was working on site, unlike most, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, but this is ridiculous. I'm not accepting anymore these comments about how we're hurting feelings and how we have to
So I would
be
just,
nice and make amends. And no, we don't have to make amends. There's nothing to make amends for. We're not using profanity. We're not screaming. We're not making personal derogatory comments. We're not calling names. So all those things would be disrespect and we would be hurtful and inappropriate. None of those things have happened. It's simply, it's not okay that we're not getting responses. It's not okay that we're not getting the information that we need to be effective. It's simply not okay. And this spin is not acceptable. And I will not accept it going forward. I'm not going to hear one more time about how someone's feelings are hurt. Our feelings aren't hurt. We just want them to do their jobs. That's all we're asking for. I'm not going home crying at night. I mean, it's not about feelings.
You know what I want
It's
to
about
say?
getting the job done.
I want to say, I need to put on a big girl panty.
But I mean, it's a professional situation here. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't.
do you have a recommendation, Deb, or is there something that you might be moved to do, an action you might think were appropriate?
I'm gonna have to think on that. I guess I want to know. I want a response to my letter. She said she was going to prepare a response. I don't understand why it was necessary to prepare, because if what I'm saying is true, which it was, it's true that we don't get responses. She should have an immediate answer as to why that's happening. She should know why she's doing that. She shouldn't have to think about it and try to come up with an answer. She should have an answer. You know, she should
want to do it.
Well, it's her,
So how do you say that though, and not make it sound like you're just being,
You know what?
that way? So I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that. But
please let us know.
yes, I will. And I'm sorry for ranting. I'm
You know, you
so tired of that message that is not a truthful message. It's not reality. It's not okay.
Yeah, we're tired of it after 3 years too, Nancy.
This brings to mind the times that she did not want to deal with euchre players coming up here and complaining about something. And granted, it should have been taken care of by a director at the township, at the senior center, versus people coming up here and crying to her. Granted, it should have been that way. But at the same time, that's her job to take care of things. And she shouldn't be crying about that and putting those things off, just like putting off responding to you. She doesn't want to respond to those people that call her, so that she quit having it. She wanted to just quit having it.
Well, and I mean,
Quit euchre.
our meetings are always at the same time. So to say that, oh, I've got other meetings,
Make it plain.
there comes a time when it mathematically is highly improbable that those aren't purposeful. Because you can tell people, I already have a commitment, I've been asked to attend this thing.
Our meeting schedule was posted in December.
Yeah,
Do we need to change our meeting data to see if Karen can come in on
Ask her
that
that.
day?
Ask
that's
her
a
that.
great question. That's a great question.
Ask her that. What days would work for you?
Yeah,
We asked Ryan for a special meeting, a date and time that met for him. And no response.
I have to tell you too, when you kept asking Ryan over and over again, you know, all right, so you're saying someone's going to be here, so you're saying you're going to send someone, so you're saying, when you said that, I thought you went too far. I thought, okay, she's bordering on being a little bit, and no one came.
Right.
And I was, even though I didn't talk about you behind your back, it was a thought in my mind. I still want to apologize for even having that thought, because clearly you knew better than I did that
Wasn't strong enough.
it didn't happen. When I read that, minutes, no one came, I Dennis, where does it take? It's such a small thing.
And you know, when I asked him in December, when I asked Ryan in December if he could come to our January meeting, he said, no, he has a schedule conflict. And I said, well, will you come to our February meeting? He said, there's nothing on my schedule. I'll put it down, I will be there. It's February.
Okay, can we,
So, so what I heard out of this conversation that's important to me is that the senior center needs to know that we're willing and able to volunteer and pitch in when they're short on staff. Nancy and Dana have run the senior center. They've been the coordinator, they've been the cooks. They know, and Dennis has run the senior center. You know, we know how to check people in, we know how to take money. He's a treasurer. If they're short, and I'm speaking to you, Becca, because I don't know that Karen will watch this tape.
I am taking that on right now. While Linda's gone for hip surgery, I'll be over there.
Oh, you will?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
you
I'll be
will?
filling in for her.
You definitely need name tags. Seriously.
Yeah.
People are going to love you if you call them by name. And that's one way you can get one jump up on them. It doesn't matter. We should have the ones that have
Big enough to read.
well, they have pins on them, so you don't reuse them. You reuse reusable ones. Anyways, never mind. Thank you. But we're here to help.
Thank you. I appreciate
We're not here to trouble them. As if, anyways, never mind. So it's now time. Anything else on that? Hiring of a director, coordinator, whatever?
Well, I brought that up at the meeting. I said to Karen, I said, have we, like, to me, I'm sorry, I think we need an ad out. You know, if you're temporary, you're filling in, thank God. But that we put an ad out and we do interviews. We find the best person, not just whoever is convenient.
she's
It's
done
gonna
that.
take time. So it's hard. A little bit of effort. Yes. And I think to me, we need, and when I brought it up at the meeting, I said, have we, put it on our board, on our, website, that we're looking for a full-time coordinator there when Jenna quit.
Or they classify that as full.
Jenna
Yeah, when Jenna quit, so that we needed to replace her, and did we put an ad out for interviews? Which one, if I was gonna hire somebody, I think maybe I'd do that.
She hasn't done any of that.
Well, why not? And I brought it up, so it's all taken care of, so everyone basically was, and that was at the board meeting. That was
She
fine.
said it's all taken care of.
Oh, yeah, it's all set, no, don't worry about it, just, be quiet.
I mean, why can't she share this stuff with us if it's all taken care of? Anyways, it's now time for the BOT report, and that's your, Cheryl?
Yeah, well, that was part of it right there, and then I brought up at the meeting about, I really don't think we need to close when the schools are closed. I would have proceeded from there saying I'd like to see us open 7 days a week personally, and I was immediately shut down by a well-prepared board with signs saying, look at all these senior centers that are closed because the schools are closed. Now, if I'd done my research, probably I could have found nice colored brochures saying which ones are not. But I didn't think I would be hit up with a 100% against my suggestion. Because the seniors are too stupid and dangerous to be out driving, which I thought was an insult to all of us. Not that there isn't blue buses, don't they know what's best? But, and I know on my road, the school buses can't drive down it when it's really bad. They have to park and the parents have to run down the street. It's a different issue, driving my four-wheel drive truck and driving a school bus. And I just don't see any reason why we need it. Now it was shut down. Absolutely shut down.
Putting them in
Danger. The old folks should not know how to drive. They should not be allowed out. Why don't we put close signs on their driveway and not let them out? If they not allowed to go to the senior center means you can't go to Myers or anywhere else because you're too stupid. That was the insinuation made at that board meeting.
So,
If you're over 65, you should be locked up. Come and lock your door and don't let you out.
do you have any report on any business that the trustees undertook in the last month, 2 weeks? 2 weeks. So they were gonna buy a property on Parkway?
Oh, we already talked about that. They were going to buy that property, and I asked a question about the DDA money,
No, this is different property.
different property. Oh, on
Parkway Road.
Road.
They're trying to
create,
Both sides, yes.
they're trying to put enough property together so that they can create a non-motorized path
Oh, that was
from the
cool.
beach to the park, and from the beach to Wishwasher Park, and then a crosswalk. So the land that they're looking to amass is on the lake side of the road, and there's a property for sale that has land on the lake side and on the other side of the road. And last night, they met in private session to discuss buying that property on Lake.
And I can't bring that out
for
because it was
sidewalk.
a private meeting, but the discussion, I don't know what to listen to.
But they are considering buying that property.
Yes.
Anything else that they discussed?
Yes, a lot of stuff they discussed in this closed meeting, so
No,
I'm not,
other than that topic.
not that I've got in my head at the moment, but that was a closed meeting discussion on that property.
And I'm sorry, it was a non-motorized park path.
Non-motorized pathway from the beach to Wishwasher Park. And
Okay.
so they're discussing the purchase of that property on the lake side.
Both properties, there's one on the lake side,
They're the same property,
yeah,
piece of property that.
same owner,
Same owner,
and
yeah.
then there's three
Okay,
parcels.
so just keep in mind, Sherry, that every month we want to know if there's anything pending or, insightful or mind-blowing that happens at the township board level that might be meaningful to us as we work with seniors. We are encouraging seniors to vote early and use their absentee ballots. The election is February 27th. The general then will be in November. We don't have these looking. Sure, it'll be a public comment in a minute. We don't have any other representative here from the township, so I'll go now to public comments. Bree,
Thank you. You already.
pleasure.
Do I need to stand up? I'll stand up. The only question I have, when you mentioned your closed session, is that posted?
It was late added to the agenda because it had just been happening.
But it wasn't posted. So if it's not posted, whatever took place is not silent. In other words, it's always posted that you have a closed session.
It was added to the agenda. I don't have my notes with me.
I don't know what the time requirement was.
Never mind. All I'm saying is you need to post for a.
Yeah, check it out.
Before the meeting.
That's, okay.
Check it
And
out.
so you can't close it at the meeting.
At the agenda? No.
Oh.
I don't
That
know.
was illegal.
Now, I don't think that's true. I don't think you can post that minute
It was added
at that agenda.
And then we went to closed session.
Why did you have
It's
to
a
be there
timing
early?
issue.
What?
Why did you have to be there early?
Because that was a really fun thing. Yeah, let me talk about this. This was really cool. I'm sorry I don't have my notes. But there was a police officer in DeWitt Township, and this was a special photograph and awarding her this
Commendation.
commendation.
Okay.
And there was a mother that was beating her 14-year-old kid or 12-year-old kid or whatever with a pair of scissors on Main Street in Bath. And she, as the DeWitt police officer came and stopped the fight, it was a domestic call, and then our Bath guys got involved in it along the way too. And she went in the house with the kids. There was no parent there. The papa had already left after he beat everybody else up and knocked the Christmas tree over and ruined their Christmas. Mother was taken away to the cop shop. And this officer, female from DeWitt, bought them Christmas presents, wrapped them, stayed with them until a relative came, fixed the Christmas tree, sat with those kids all evening until family came.
And then she went back and helped them celebrate Christmas. She didn't put the tree up, she found out the sizes and
Wrapped
everything
the
else,
presents.
wrapped all the gifts and delivered them.
She used to work
received a
for
commendation.
She's a good lady.
Yeah.
She's a good lady.
She received commendation, which was very nice.
But that accommodation was there at the meeting?
Yeah,
The whole place was filled with DeWitt cops and Bath cops.
Okay.
And they gave her a plaque and,
We took pictures of all of them.
anything else?
She's a good.
Other public comment?
No, the only thing I have to say with that is I will check to see with posting. That will be on one
Okay.
job.
About the Park Lake Road property?
No, about being able to have a closed
First
session
meeting, yeah.
at the agenda
Right.
That should be in Robert's rules,
being
right?
posted. I'll check.
It has to do with open meetings law, not
Yeah.
rules of order.
I just asked if anyone on the board here has any comments, final comments before we close the meeting. Ben, you want to say anything?
Nothing.
Thanks for being here. Nancy?
Nothing.
Deb? Dan?
I can just, I guess without violating closed meeting act, I think everything was done appropriately and it's not going to affect anything negative, or I would fight like hell to get it out there.
Thank you very much for your time, your talent, your wisdom, and your knowledge. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Adjourned.
I do have a question for you, Judy.
Just want to make sure you have it.
She's gonna mail them out to us, right? Email to us?
I will get that electronically. I don't have it electronically. My builder just gave it to me last night. So I will get it electronically and I will send it out.
Is it possible, do you mind if we check with other builders on prices?
Oh, absolutely. Not a problem at all.
Okay.
I was going to go to the library. I don't know that the senior center's copy machine is working or not working. We definitely could take it to the library or take it to the senior center right now and make copies for whoever wanted to follow me over there. But turn your mics off, please. Thank you. All right. So, Nancy, if you want